What's up, everybody? Keith, aka VF Guy 231. It is Saturday, the 22nd. We have another 4-game set of game 3s to attack. And so let's just jump right in. Quick reminder, if you really are enjoying these videos and all the content FSI has up on this YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right. Very, very much helps us. Our goal by the end of this month is to get to 750. So anything you can do, maybe click that button or tell a friend would very much help. Let's jump right into the games. I'm going to do today a little different than I've done the last few, just to kind of change it up rather than go game by game. I'm going to go by position. I'm just going to give you my couple top guys that I'm targeting, the why, and go from there. Let's see if we can get this done even quicker and get you guys back out to your Saturday. So let me just quickly go over the 4 games and the spreads, because I think that's going to be one of the biggest things on the slate is really just trying to pick the games that are going to stay close and that we know we can get run. We saw with these games last, Thursday, so many of them blew out. It was like misfire city. FSI, we were lucky that we had Duncan Robinson in the cores. If you watched the quick picks on Twitter too, he was my top value. And, it's weird to say Duncan Robinson carried us to cash. So hopefully we can get on a play like that today. So Milwaukee, Orlando is Milwaukee by 12.5. I truly do think that as a Magic fan that the Bucks are going to throttle them just after that game 1. It's like the same as that happened last year with Toronto. Miami -5 is 214. Houston -3, 223, and the Lakers are -7.5, 224. All right, let's start at the point guard position, and I'm going to try to just focus on like the position only or what the guys actually play for this. So I think Chris Paul. I was all over last game, and he did terrible. I really like going back to him today, especially in GPPs. I think people will be off after a miserable game. Last time out, 7,800 is a really nice tag. Zach told me before the series started, he goes, that Chris Paul is going to be over 9K before this is done. And I agree with that statement. So really like Chris Paul to bounce back. I think that's a really nice play, especially if you like this game a lot. You want to play Harden. Very good to run back with Chris Paul. The second point guard and the guy that I think I'm going to definitely be playing today is actually Malcolm Brogdon. So if you actually look at the shots versus like how Brogdon's played the whole season, like he is due for a regression. So we have, due to like progression, I guess would be the way to say it. 30 and 39 minutes. So I love the minutes. 18 and 14 shots, 9 and 10 assists. Like when Brogdon's hitting his shots, which he's one of the most efficient shooters in the league, he is actually, I think, going to potentially hit 50 today or the next day that he actually is hitting close to 50% of his shots. I love the price of 6,900. Indiana's really in a must-win situation. So I really like Brogdon here. I think he's going to be close to a core play for me. Dragic in that same game has been awesome too. 32 and 34 minutes, 31 and 42 DK. I think his price is efficient, which on this slate where there's just it's really hard to actually build. I think efficient is fine. Again, I want to find the 900 for Brogdon, but I think that Dragic is fine. And the final point guard I'll just bring up is Markelle Fultz, who will be super chalk again. Don't know what is going on with DK. Normally when a guy is chalk 2 straight slates, even if his price isn't due an adjustment, it happens. But Fultz has 27 and 24. His price has only moved 300 since the first slate when he was 77% owned in cash. He was hugely chalk last slate. He'll be hugely chalk again today. With DJ Augustine behind him, I don't know how much like upside we have. I don't expect like 40 anytime soon, but Fultz is a good player. He's taking 11 shots each game. So, at 4,500, he stands out as one of the best values on the slate and will be very, very popular. All right, let's head over to shooting guard. Biggest decision on the slate, per usual, is are you going to play James Harden? I would just bring something up by watching the game. Dort did a hell of a job on Harden last game, just annoying the crap out of him, and did so in the regular season too. I think Harden shot like 1 for 17 from 3 the last time they played with Dort. And remember, Dort did not play game 1. But Harden, to me, is still probably the guy that I trust the most of everybody, just because LeBron, Davis, and Giannis are all in games that could easily blow out. Harden is in the game that OKC should be able to keep these games close. And they need a win to stay in this series. So I do like Harden a lot. 11-6 is a steep tag, but let's be real. Like, if Harden would have put up 80 in the first two, his tag would have been like 13,000. And I still think there's an 80 to 90-point game coming this series from him. So personally, I'm just going to keep riding the train. The next guy that I think will be very popular is Jimmy Butler. Playing big minutes, obviously, the playoffs, 37, 38 minutes, 48 and 38 DK. Honestly, the turnovers, the first two games are a little out of the ordinary for him, 5 and 4 turnovers. But I just think that when you get Butler, especially with how close this game should play out, you just, in a lot of ways, are getting close to locking in 40 DK, which we just noticed last slate. That was huge to the cash line. More of a GPP play here, but I like Dennis Schroder. He's playing big minutes, 32 minutes in the first two. It's 5,700. It's just a fine tag. It's not like great, but it's efficient. But if he started shooting the ball better, he has a chance for big upside. They can play this game small. So, Schroeder's somebody that we've seen drop 40 off the bench easily. So could do so again. I don't necessarily love him. I don't think he'll be in a cash lineup, but I do think that in GPPs, he's a really interesting decision. The other guy that I definitely want to bring up, but personally will be off of, is Evan Fournier. Popping in a lot of models and optimizers just because of the big minutes. He's a little scoring dependent for me. Without those 3 steals last game, he would have done 18 again. So I just think it's a tough matchup. But 5,200 for a guy playing 36 minutes, it's going to take double-digit shots. It works, and when he gets hot, he's going to do well. So I can't fault anybody for doing it. I need to build some more, but if I land on him, I won't hate it. But he's not somebody that I'm going out of my way and just being like, oh my God, I gotta lock in Evan Fournier. All right, let's go to small forward. LeBron James is going to play. Don't worry about his questionable tag. He and Anthony Davis are questionable the entire season. They will play. Obviously, game 1 was a historic triple-doubles, 23, 17, and 16. Didn't have to do it last game because they just throttled Portland. I do worry that kind of Portland's been found out, just kind of like how Orlando's been found out by the Bucks. And the Lakers defensively can just put the lockdown on people. So I think James is fine. I think that more often than not, he hits 50 here. But again, you just have to decide on what you think of your roster construction and then what you think of that game overall. I'm not going to play TJ Warren. I'll bring him up just because he's playing big minutes and big shots. But I think that ship's sailed at 8K. I just don't want to deal with it, especially with Butler always willing to go over and put the clamps on him. I'm going to scroll down. The guy I really like and was all over last game. Kind of let down, but I'm going to run right back to it as Eric Gordon. I guess not really let down. He was only 4,900. He put 6X, but 6 of 20, 0 for 10 from 3. He's a much better shooter than that. If he hits those shots, he could have put up 50. With no Russ, he's still going to be the number 2 for Houston. So I love the play. Eric Gordon will be in a ton of my lineups. Scroll back up. I kind of reorder this. Victor Oladipo, I really like too. I was on him a lot game 1, got the injury, was low owned. It's going to be low owned again here. 14 shots in 37 minutes, 32 DK. Look, we know Depot, has huge upside. He could put up 50. I just really like him. I think it's a good play at 6,100. I just think maybe Miami-Indy, is the one game that we know is going to play close. So it does kind of make some sense to potentially load up on some of those options. Final play, I'm not going to be playing Duncan Robinson here after the big game. Just think that that's kind of chasing. But Daniel House, I think, is very in play with the minutes. Dropped 36.25 DK. Last game, 38 minutes is the type of minutes we want to see. Look, when he's hitting threes, he has upside, but I do like that he's getting involved in rebounding with 9 boards last game. So I think 4,700, he actually does stand out as the top value. All right, heading over to power forward. I'm not going to really go into these two plays, Giannis and Davis. They speak for themselves. They're both elite. I said before the series I thought Davis could put up historic numbers on Portland. He's just such a mismatch nightmare on them. So 10-2, I think I really like, especially if you don't know which game's going to blow out. I think 10-2 is fine. Just really got to decide on Harden. Harden, Giannis, Davis, LeBron. Decide on that, and that'll answer a lot. Other than that, power forward's tough. I think that you could really make a argument to use House here that I put down in the small forward category. I just think it's dark here. I do want to bring up James Ennis, and this will be dependent on if we see Aaron Gordon play. Ennis and Gary Clark get a big boost when Aaron Gordon is out. Just locks in their minutes. Ennis now has 20 plus and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight games going back to the end of the regular season. So at 4,300, I think he'll be a very popular value. I don't know how much ceiling he gives you, but he's rebounding the ball like a champ. And with Clark, going to have to Clark or Gordon being on Giannis, and it's definitely gets the easier matchup with Chris Middleton. So I think he's a fine value. Other guy I'll just mention, Jay Crowder. We really want to watch the injury news, but he's not playing big minutes, unfortunately. But 10 and 8 last game for 27 DK at 4K is a very, very nice play. Finally, let's wrap it up at the center position. Nikola Vucevic has been nothing short of sensational. Only reason that Orlando is even in the series, has 62 and 50 DK the first 2 games. They just don't guard him well. And Vucevic is supremely talented, can just move a lot faster than Brook Lopez. So, look, I the first 2 games really haven't had any interest in him. That's my own mistake. I think that it's obviously the Magic's game plan is going to be going through Vucevic. He's the only chance they have. So, even at 9,100, I think it's a very, very good play. Let's go down to Bam Adebayo, who was in foul trouble last game. I think it was through the second quarter, did not have a fantasy point because of the fouls. So I think that's a good spot to bounce back, especially if you want to stack up this game. 46 DK the first game. I think that he'll be back in that 35 to 40 range here. Brook Lopez, I think is just fine. He chalk flopped the first game, but 30 and 33 minutes. He shoots a little too many threes for my liking for a 7-footer, but some of these games he's just going to get a ton of blocks, which really boosts his ceiling. So at 5,300, I think he's a safe play for cash with some upside. And then finally, just, if you just want to punt, want big minutes, PJ Tucker always shows up in the playoffs. At 4,400, he has 23 in the last 2 games. I think, if I projected him, it would probably be 22 to 24 for DK in this game. So I think he's fine at 4,400. All right, guys, that'll do it. Thanks so much. Hope that this helped. Let me know in the comments if you do like this format, or if you prefer us going game by game. Certainly would love to know. All right, good luck today and have a great weekend.